Um, Today is the 13th of July 2023. We've been talking about probability for a couple of lessons. I think this is our fourth lesson on probability. Okay, we've introduced it. Yesterday we looked at some possible questions that you can get, and we realized that they are easy questions, but you need pre-knowledge of certain things like multiple factors, prime numbers. We've learned about dependent and independent events. We've looked at mutually exclusive events. And yesterday, I put this at the corner of the paper, on top of the paper, and I said, at times you have to look at the wording, or means you should add the probability of each, and then end means you should times. Okay, so today I might use it. I wanted to do a bit of recap on percentages, but I think I found some interesting questions that I want to share with you, because these questions, you know them, but don't let the wording put you off so that you don't answer them. Okay, so let's go straight ahead and look at what we have today. So the first question here is, find the probability of picking a number randomly from 1 to 70 which is less than 45. So here again, in a bag, you have the numbers 1 to 70 labeled, but they're asking you to pick a number less than 45. Okay, so in total, you have 70 numbers. If they said less or equal to 45, then 45 will be inclusive. But because they said less than 45, so you want a number up to 44, not 45. Okay? Remember, all these numbers are whole numbers. So now your numerator will be 44. So you are picking a number from 1 to 44, okay, out of 70 numbers. So if you have them, that will be 22 and that will be 35, and this will be the lowest, because 3 cannot go in, and 4 cannot also. 11 can go in here, but not 35. So this will be our lowest number, our lowest or simplest fraction in the simplest form. So that is it. Now question 2 here. Okay, find the probability of picking a number randomly from 1 to 108. Okay, so 1 to 108, which are multiples of 9. So here is multiples of 9, which is the timetables of 9. Okay, so let's list all the multiples of 9. They said from 2. So 1 is inclusive, 108 inclusive. So we know that 108 is a multiple. 1 is not, okay, but 9 is. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90, 99, and 108. If you don't know the times table, another thing you can do is you start with 9 because you want the multiple of 9. Then each of them add 9. Okay, add 9. And then you get all the numbers you need so that you can count them. Okay, if you add 9, then take you up to 108. So how many multiples do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we have 12 multiples of 9, okay, out of 108. Okay, so now if we have 12, we get 6. Half 12, 64. Half 108, that would be 54. Sorry about that. Okay, and then half 6 is 3. Half 54 is 27. Okay, so we have 3 out of 27. Now, how many 3s do we have in 27? Okay, 9 3 is 27, so we have 9. And 3 is 1, so we have 1 out of 9. So our probability is 1 out of 9. Okay, that is 54, not 64. Okay, so the probability here is 1 out of 9. Now, let's look at the third question. Okay, and look at the first answer. 22 out of 35 is not a top-heavy fraction, so definitely it's less than 1. We said probability answers should always be less than 1. The second answer, the one we just did, 1 out of 9, is also not a top-heavy number, so which is less than 1. Okay, the third question is find the probability of not picking a number between 1 and 108 which are not multiples of 9. So now we just did the probability of numbers between 101 and 108 which are multiples of 9. Now they are asking you not picking a number, okay, between 1 and 108. So that would be 1 minus 1 over 9. So multiples of 9, we got 1 out of 9. So not multiples of 9 will be 1 out of 1 minus 1 out of 9. Okay, so here our answer will be 1 minus 1 out of 9, which is equal to 9 out of 9 minus 1 out of 9, because here we want the denominator to be the same. So instead of 1, we write 9 out of 9 minus 1 out of 9. So our new answer here will be 8 out of 9. I hope I'm clear. Okay, so the probability of multiples of 9 is 1 over 9. And the probability of not picking a number between 1 out of 8, which is not a multiple of 9. So you take 1 and subtract from all that, because we know that a certain event is 1. Okay, now let's look at the third one. Question 4. Here again, find the probability of picking a number randomly, okay, ending with 7 between 1 and 100. So between 1 and 100, any number that ends with 7, we want to find the probability of that. So between 1 and 100, the denominator will become 100. Now, 7 ends with 7. Okay, I guess root 07 so that you know that it's by 7. 17 ends with 7, 27, 37, 47, 57, 67, 77, 87, 97. They said between 1, okay, between 1 and 100. So don't go beyond 100. So if you add 107, then you are wrong. So now it's a total number of 100, okay, 100, and then how many numbers end 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 numbers between 1 and 100 ending 7. Okay, you can try and list it. So 10 out of 100, which is 1 over 10. So assuming they asked you the probability of not ending with 7, since you know the probability of ending 7, then you take 1 minus 1 out of 10. Okay, this is not part of the question, but I just wanted to explain. Okay, so my 1 out of 10. In place of 1 here, we write 10 out of 10 minus 1 out of 10, so that we can have the denominators to be the same. So 10 minus 1 is 9 out of 10. So the probability with a number ending with 7 is 1 out of 10. The probability with a number not ending with 7, which is the rest of the numbers, is 9 out of 10. When you think about it, 9 out of 10 add 1 out of 10. When you add them together, you should get 1. And you can see that the numerators, the denominators are the same. So 1 and 9. So if you add them, you get 10 out of 10. Okay. Now the 5th question. Find the probability of picking a number randomly between 1 and 100. Okay, which ends with 7 or multiples of 9. So here we need a knowledge from question 4. We've done question 4, ends with 7, and we saw that the probability is 1 out of 10. So we've put a question 4, the one we just did, here, because we've already done that, so we don't want to do that again. Now, what is the multiples of 9? We did them here. We did them here, and we saw that it's 1 out of 9. But in this question, it's between 1 and 108. Okay, here we want up to 100, just 100. Okay, so because of that, the multiples will reduce by 1, because 108 would not be inclusive in 1 to 100. So our multiple will end up at 99. Okay, so that means we have 11 instead of 12 now, as we had here. Here we had 12 out of 108. But what we are solving now, we know that if it's up to 100, then we have to exclude this, the 108. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now we know that between 1 and 100, we have 11 multiples. So out of 100. Okay, so 1 over 10, add 11 over 10. We want the denominators to be the same. So if we multiply this by 10 and that by 10, we have 10 over 100. Here we go. Add 11 over 100. Now, in the beginning, I said if you have a all wedding, it's an add. Okay, so the question here says multiples ending with 7 or multiples of 9. So now we have to add them. So 10 over 100, add 11 over 100. Remember, we got 10 over 100 because we need to make the denominators 100. Okay, so now 100, and then the numerator is 10 add 11, which is 21. So here our answer will be 21 out of 100. Okay, now you can also leave it as a decimal, and if you want to do that, as we saw in earlier videos, these are 2 zeros, so it means to move 1, 2, so the answer will be 0.21. Okay, if we want to leave it as percentage, then it will be 21%. So assuming the question went on further to say that leave your answer as a percentage, then you go for this. If they say leave your answer as a decimal, you go for this one. If they say leave your answer as a fraction, you stop here. So here it's important, but what I wanted to show you is, I said if it is all, you add depending on the wording of the equation, and if it is end, you times. So this is an example that they are asking you. This is the or, which ends with a multiple of 7 or multiples of 9. So it's either or. Okay, now here this is an end question where you multiply. Okay, so find the probability of picking a number between 1 and 100. okay, randomly, which end with a 7 and multiples of 9. So it is the same question, but here it's not an or, it's and. So this is where you need to multiply. So you need to find the probability of numbers which end with 7, which you've done in question 4, and the multiples of 9 between 1 and 100. Okay, so we've just done that. It's not between 1 and 108. It's between here, it's between 1 and 100. Okay, so you have to take note of that. If you put in the one you solved previously, it's between 112, then it's between 1 and 108. But they're asking you here between 1 and 100. So please take note of that. So here it's the same thing. So 1 over 10, which is 1 over 10, times 11 over 100. Okay, so here the denominators doesn't need to be the same. We just multiply the numerator and the denominator as we learned when we're doing fractions. So 1 times 11 is 11. 10 times 100 is 1000. So here we can leave our answer in a decimal form, or we can leave it as a fraction. And here again, it's not a top-heavy fraction. Okay, so what you need to do is 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3. So we bring a 0 here. So it's 0.011. If we have to leave our answer as a decimal, but if they didn't say anything, we can stop here. Okay, if they ask us to leave it as percentage, then we divide all this by 100, and then whatever we get is what we write. I hope I'm clear on that. Okay, so far we've learned that probability cannot be greater than 1. Okay, and it cannot be greater than 100%. And it can also not be length by 0. So I've tried to solve another type of question with you. So you find the probability and the not, and then I've shown you the or and the end situation. So the same question, because this is or, the answer is 0.21. And because this is end, the answer is 0.011. So there is a difference when it's or when it's end. Okay, we'll do more examples along the way. Okay, and you will see what I mean. So I need you to just put this on the side for now. Okay, and then gradually, as we solve more questions and as your thinking grows, you will learn to use them. But all I need you to know for today is when you see the wording there as or, this probability of this or this, you find both probabilities and then you add them together. But if it says probability of example multiples of 2 and prime numbers between a certain limit of numbers, you find both and then you multiply. Okay, and we know how to add fractions and we know how to multiply fractions. So thank you for watching today's lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson.